With College SportsCast, and we're presented by the Fanboys. All right, guys, it's Brad with College SportsCast. Welcome in. We are going to be doing our news and hot topics show. We're going to talk about college baseball over the weekend. I've got Jason Harrison joining me now. So I'll get him pulled up here as he gets kind of situated. And we are live, Jason, when you get this and hear me. So, but Jason is going to be joining me, and we are going to be doing and covering all of the college baseball NCAA tournament that was over the weekend. The regions were this past weekend. A lot of fun games to watch. I watched a lot. Speaking of that, ESPN says that it was the most watched NCAA region rounds in like 10 years. It was up 37% from last year, from 2022. So there was a whole lot more people watching this time for the NCAA baseball region rounds, and there was some fun games to watch. Jason, did you get to watch any over the weekend? I can't hear you, Mike, man. I can't hear you. Is your end muted? If you guys are on with me, hang on a minute.
I want to say that.
All right. I got you now, man. All right. I got you, Jason. Hey, we have to work shit out on the air.
No doubt.
All right. So I asked Jason, did you get to watch any of the baseball tournament over the weekend?
I wasn't. Hey, can you still hear me? Can you hear me?
Yep. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, you can hear me. Okay. Man, I got a chance to see some highlights. So, as you know, I'm in Little Rock, Arkansas, and so it was all about the Hogs, and the Hogs, from what I was seeing, didn't show up to play.
Well, they sure couldn't handle TCU. I can tell you that.
Exactly.
TCU spanked their butt twice.
Yeah,
not by a little bit, by a lot.
Yeah, by a lot. So, during the course of what I had going on this weekend, my uncles came from the back and it was like, "Yeah, Arkansas is down." And I'm not talking about just the baseball.
Well, I mean, they played good. Besides, they just so TCU just swung the bats, man, and I mean they were just drilling balls. And I mean, the first game they played them, they beat them 20-5. And then they had a rematch yesterday, and it wasn't a whole lot better. I can't remember what the final was. It wasn't quite 20-5, but it was like 12-4 or something like that.
Yeah, the word around was that the Hogs left their bats at home, and they literally
TCU just lit them up. And Arkansas was the third overall seed in the in the NCAA tournament brackets. They were the third overall seed. So there was a few surprises, and we'll kind of get to that. First of all, I got it up on the screen. If you're with us, joining us, welcome to College Sportscast. We are presented here at Bluegrass Brad's, sponsored by. That's what's sponsored by at the bottom. That's me, a small business that I run here. So that's what's up on the screen. But welcome to College Sportscast. But all right, so we'll go ahead and we'll dig into this college baseball stuff. There was some surprises. TCU had been, from what I know, they had been playing well. They had been swinging the bats well. Still was a surprise that Arkansas couldn't hang with them. The season that Arkansas had,
Man.
That was a surprise. I'm going to be honest with you. My biggest surprise was probably Auburn. Auburn finished the regular season and the SEC tournament in the top four, and was playing really well. Got an overall 1 seed and hosted the region as a 13 as the 13. And God, they just stunk it up. They lost both games overnight at home to, Penn and teams that they shouldn't have lost to. I really thought Auburn's region was one of the weaker regions, and then they got smoked in both games. So watch, John's on with us.
No, it's good old boys fantasy football.
Good old boys fantasy football, man. Hey, thank goodness. I appreciate you being on with us, man. I figured John's one of my partners, and he's a big Auburn fan. And since I was ripping Auburn, I figured, oh, crap, he's going to be on with us. That's why I said that. But anyway.
I would love to have been a fly on his wall if he was watching the game.
Oh, he was there, I think. He was there.
He made it? Yeah, I didn't know if he was able to make it or not.
I think. I know he made it to the SEC tournament a couple of games. I'm not sure if he – but I'm not sure if he was there for 1 or 2 of the games. They only got to play 2, and they got beat in both. They just didn't show up. Their pitching was not horrible, but their bats – and Auburn had been – they'd been averaging 6, 8, 10 runs a game the last half of the season. Their bats just did not show up at all. They couldn't score runs, and, they got beat. So that was a surprise. I was really surprised by Vandy, who won the SEC tournament. All right, I think your mic is gone out again.
No, I had to say something. I had to say something. Yeah, I
okay.
had to say something.
All right. Go ahead.
No. I was agreeing. I was listening to what you were saying.
Yeah. Vandy, they got beat 2-1 by Xavier, in the elimination game that knocked them out. And Vandy had been, they'd been 1 or 2 all season long in the SEC East. Them in Florida. They had been 1 and 2 all season long. Vandy was right there all season long as one of the top teams in the SEC, and I was really surprised that they were beat out as quickly as they were. But that said, there are 6 remaining SEC teams out of the 16. There was 10 to start out with. There are 6 remaining SEC teams out of the 16 teams. And we'll kind of run through those. But those are, so there's still 3/8 of the teams left, SEC is still doing pretty good. You got Um,
South Carolina.
Clemson, you got Clemson who got beat out by Tennessee.
Mhm.
So I know there's two ACC teams. You got Duke and Virginia, but they're playing each other.
Wake Forest as well.
Yeah, Wake Forest. So there's three.
Yes.
There's three ACC
So you
teams.
got Alabama,
So there's
Florida,
six.
South
So
Carolina.
there's six SEC and three ACC teams left. So there's 9 out of the 16 is out of those two conferences.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple of surprises that's in there. Most people probably didn't have Oral Roberts in their Sweet 16. They're a 4 seed
Mm.
in their region. I think I seen that they're only the 8th overall 4 seed to ever make the region round.
Southern
And
Miss.
that is
Southern Miss. What about Southern Miss? Is a little bit of a surprise.
Southern Miss is a surprise that's in the region. They are.
Mhm.
They're the ones that come out of the Auburn region.
Mm.
Southern Miss is the one that came out of the Auburn region. The one I said I was really shocked by the way Auburn played. It came down to Penn and Southern Miss. And Southern Miss did just enough towards the end of the game to win, and they're moving on to the regional. So Southern Miss is definitely a surprise. I was surprised by that one. You got Oral Roberts in there, and then Indiana State was a 1 seed. Okay, they were ranked 14th. They got a 1 seed. So I'm not saying that they are a terrible surprise, but I don't think when the season started that a lot of people had the Sycamores in the top 16 teams.
At all. At all. At all. At all.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just being real here. I mean, now throughout the season, Indiana State has had a good season and everything, and I'm not taking anything from them. But like I said, when the season started, I don't think too many people had the Sycamores in the top 16 teams. There are 16 teams left. Indiana State Sycamores, by the way, if you don't know that, is one of the 16 remaining teams. So, there is a little story that's going on with them,
What's the story?
and I
What's the
want to
story?
and I want to get to that. It's a kind of a feel good story here with this one. So they're the 1 seed in there. They were the host this past weekend and was the 1 seed. So they're moving on. In most cases, they would also be the host of the super regional.
Mm.
But where they are playing in Indiana State, where they play at, their city is hosting for the 51st year a Special Olympics
Okay.
this coming weekend. Okay, and everything it's like one of the big things for the Special Olympics, and because of that, they are not getting to host their super regional site. That is actually going to TCU.
Wow.
TCU is getting to host instead of Indiana State. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is TCU is actually active telling all of their fans to donate to the Special Olympics.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to kind of throw that out that, go look it up. I don't have it actually on the screen or on here with me, but they are asking anyone to donate to the Special Olympics because Indiana State is not getting to host their super regional. TCU is actively trying to get people to donate to the Special Olympics too. Thought that was a pretty good gesture by TCU. What do you think?
I think that's dope. You hate to see, especially Indiana State, who worked so hard to, get there and be a host, and you know what that does for the community. But bowing out to something that's bigger than all of us, because I think those kids, if they were able to, they would trade places with those guys and try to live out other dreams. But being able to be stars on that particular weekend and giving that up, and then TC going giving up to going to TCU, and then TCU paying it forward. That's what the remarkable thing is. They're actually making good on it because let's see, from an economical standpoint, Indiana State up there, hey, it would have thrived. It would have
Yeah,
thrived. I
absolutely.
just think it
Yeah.
would have thrived. So, I think it's a win-win situation. It's bittersweet, but it's win-win. It's a win-win.
Yeah. So now Indiana State, as the one seed in that region, has
Mm-hmm.
to go and play away,
Mm-hmm.
best 2 out of 3 at TCU. And we started the show off talking about how hot TCU has been with the bats.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's going to be a tough challenge to go into there and to beat that hot team. 2 out of 3 for Indiana
Yeah.
State.
That it'll be tough, but I think that Indiana State will be playing from something much bigger than themselves because we couldn't host. Let's get to Omaha, so everybody can come. Let's get to Omaha. So that's
Yeah.
the goal right there.
So there are 3 regions who are matching up with overall 1 seeds. The first one I'm going to talk about is Kentucky versus LSU. I'm bringing it up. I watched most of the Kentucky region. They were a host. They lost in the second game to Indiana 5-3. Late in the game, about eighth inning, they scored a couple of runs and broke the game open, and they lost 5-3. Now, at that point, ESPN put a stat up, and said that the winner of the second game goes on and wins 81% of the regions because the loser has to come back and beat them twice, not once, but twice.
That's tough.
And Kentucky, even though they were hosting, did accomplish that feat. 19% of the time it happens, and Kentucky was one of those 19% of the times. And they come back and beat Indiana twice, beat them on Sunday and beat them on Monday, and won their region last night. That is the second time that their coach has taken them to the region, hosted the region, and the second time that they have won their region. So I'm pretty proud to say that they are going, but they are having to go to LSU. Okay? Who is the preseason number 1 team, by the way.
Pretty tough.
Has probably the top 2 Major League Baseball picks. The draft is coming up fairly soon, and LSU probably has the top 2 picks on their team. Paul Skeens and, the big guy that crushes the ball every time he comes to the plate.
You think so? You think they got the top 2 picks?
They've definitely got the 2 of the top 5. I can guarantee you that. I guarantee you that. But yeah, they may have the top 2 picks. It's going to be a challenge for Kentucky to try to beat LSU in Baton Rouge. The region starts Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern time in Baton Rouge, and it's Saturday, Sunday, Monday if necessary, best 2 out of 3. So that is that region. Then we're going to, I'll talk about the next region is going to be Duke versus Virginia. Virginia was the 7 overall seed. And this region starts on Friday. There's 4 that starts on Friday and 4 that starts on Saturday. This one is Friday at noon Eastern time, and then Saturday and then Sunday if necessary, best 2 out of 3. All right. And then the next one is going to be Oral Roberts versus Oregon. Now, Oral Roberts was a 4. I think Oregon was a 2, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have it pulled up right now. They definitely were not the number 1 overall seed in that region. But it is being played in Eugene, Oregon, and it is a Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Saturday and Sunday if necessary. Oral Roberts, I do want to say one thing. Oral Roberts is one of the hottest teams in baseball. They've won 21 straight games.
Feel good story. Wouldn't be surprised if they got to Omaha. Would not be surprised.
21 straight games that Oral Roberts has won. And that may have been before they clinched their victory the other night. It might be 22 straight games now that they've won. Then the next one is, this one is actually being played in Fort Worth. This is the Indiana State at TCU. This is one I was talking about there. The Sycamores don't get to host. It's being played Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The Friday game starts at 5 o'clock Eastern. And then you've got Gainesville, which is 2 number 1 seeds. You got South Carolina going against Florida.
That's going to be a good one.
Yeah, it is. South Carolina was the overall 15 seed, and they had a couple of injuries late in the year and kind of dropped a little bit. They were a 5 seed or better most of the season. This actually should be a really, really, really good series to watch. It is a Friday, Saturday, Sunday series. Best 2 out of 3 starts Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern. So that'll be a good one to watch. Then you've got the regional that's in Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
Hattiesburg.
Is it Hattiesburg?
Hattiesburg.
Okay. All right. So this one, there's a little bit of controversy on this one.
Uh-oh.
Okay. So Tennessee and Southern Miss were both 2 seeds in their region, okay? Tennessee actually has a higher RPI, a higher strength of schedule, a higher ranking, overall ranking.
I see where this is going.
And somehow or another, they were overlooked, and Southern Miss was voted as the host of the Super Regional. Excuse me, I had to get a little bit of a drink. So last night, late, they voted, and it was given to Southern Miss in Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
Hattiesburg, yeah.
I've heard it both ways, actually.
You heard it both for real?
I have, but I don't know which one's actually right.
Hattiesburg. Hattiesburg. I'm gonna go with that. Being at Ole Miss, being in Jackson.
Yeah.
Being on the coast.
Hattiesburg. I've heard people pronounce it. I mean, I've lived down in, southern Alabama and stuff. I've actually heard people pronounce it both ways, and I didn't know which way was actually right. So
that's the only way I've heard. I got you.
But anyway, so this is a Saturday, Sunday, Monday, best 2 out of 3. It's being played in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Like I said, Tennessee is a little bit on the upset side. They have been throwing a fit today that they didn't get to host their regional. They thought for sure, because they had better rankings and everything, that they would get to host the Super Regional, but they're not. Southern Miss is actually getting to host. It starts Saturday at 3 o'clock Eastern time. And like I said, it's a Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Tennessee's probably going to be a little pissed. Their coach as well. He's a little flamboyant.
Listen, trust me. he probably wanted to stay home and hear that Rocky talk. That Rocky talk. Could you imagine that fan base?
Oh yeah.
Could you imagine that fan base?
That's the one region where there's a little controversy. The other one is the Indiana State TCU one, but there's a reason behind that. This one, they're both 2 seeds in their regions. They won, so it can go either way. And it was actually a vote, I guess, by the committee that picked Southern Miss. But Tennessee's like, wait a second, we have a higher RPI, we have a higher strength of schedule, we have a higher overall ranking. How does Mrs. Southern Miss get to host over us?
What do you think?
That's what they're saying.
What do you think the case was? What do you think the case was?
I really don't know. I mean, you're choosing Southern Miss over the SEC. Like you would think. Of course, I mean, maybe it comes into play that there was other stuff going on in Knoxville, and because there is things like available hotels and stuff like that come into play.
It is.
Yeah, there's definitely stuff like that as well. So
it's probably something. It had to be something kind of like Kentucky.
Yeah.
Kentucky had.
Kentucky had that country music fest going on.
How did that fare out? I know
there was a whole lot of talk of it over the weekend. I can tell you that.
How did it fare out?
I mean, all the teams had to stay in the dorm because there was no hotels and stuff. So, my guess is that there's something, 2 or 3 things probably big going on in Knoxville. Hattiesburg is a small town. I mean, it's not that big. I have driven through there mainly because I went there on purpose because that's where Brett Favre's from. So, yeah, I had to go see the home place of Brett Favre when I was down there. So he's growing up, or not really growing up, but as a young adult, he was my favorite. So, anyways, I have been there one time just to kind of go see where Brett Favre is from.
The gunslinger. Where the gunslinger was from. Man.
That was. I did that on purpose. I drove up there because there's some places in town that is like, because of Brett. So, yeah, right. You've been there, right? There is, right? There's some places there that you can kind of go and check out and see because of Brett.
Mr. Hattiesburg himself.
Yeah. Absolutely. And Southern Miss. He played right there at Southern Miss. So
Mr. Hattiesburg himself.
Yep. He played right there at Southern Miss. So anyways, I have always had a soft spot there, and I was near there. I was actually in Mississippi a couple of times and was down there. I was in the South, and I was so I thought, you know what? I'm going to drive up to Hattiesburg. So I did.
Not a bad idea.
I did. All right, so the next region I'm going to talk about is Texas is playing the overall number 8, Stanford. Stanford beat Texas A&M late last night to clinch their spot. And like I said, it was a late game. They're playing Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, 6 o'clock Eastern time on Saturday. They are... I think they're ranked number 4 in the country in the rankings. So Stanford's got a good shot as well. And then you got 2 more number 1 seeds that are matching up. You got number 16, Alabama is going to Winston-Salem to play Wake Forest, the number 1 overall seed in the tournament. And it is a Saturday, Sunday, Monday game series as well. It starts at noon Eastern time on Saturday in Winston-Salem. So that is the 8 regions and the sites. We've talked about the sites as well. One, it's a little bit of controversy. One that had to be given up because of the Special Olympics with Indiana State. Like I said, they are asking that you give to the Special Olympics. TCU is actively doing that as well. They're posting it all over the place. I've seen it on Facebook and Twitter and everything else for TCU actively doing that with their fans and stuff. So that's a pretty good deal there. But that is the super regions. This is the super regions round. These are all best 2 out of 3 series. That's what these are. So if you win the first 2, you move on. Game 3 is only if necessary. So you've got to win 1 to get to Sunday or Monday, depending on if your series starts on Friday or Saturday. Just like I said, 4 of these series start Friday, 4 start Saturday. Then you've got the ones that are on Friday will have Saturday games, so there'll be 8 games Saturday. And then Sunday, there will definitely be 4 games. Then you'll have the chance of 4 more if the Friday games split. And then you'll have a chance of 4 games on Monday if the Saturday-Sunday game split. So it's a whole weekend thing, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And at that point, we will know the 8 remaining teams that are going to Omaha. The road to Omaha. Yes. We're on the road to Omaha. So the 8 remaining teams will be going to the College World Series in Omaha. That's what this is.
Time of the year when nothing else is going to be on TV but baseball.
Right. That's exactly right. It's actually pretty fun. I'm interested in it. Of course, Kentucky's in it. That's part of the reason why I'm interested at this time. They do match up with quite possibly the best. I mean, LSU was the number 1 ranked team all year long until like the last 3 weeks, and Wake Forest took it over. LSU dropped a couple of spots, but now I will say this. Kentucky played them in Baton Rouge about week 4 or 5 of the regular season in the SEC, like mid-April, April 20th, April 15th. They played them. They split Friday and Saturday. They lost Friday, beat you Saturday. Then Sunday, Kentucky took a 1-run 8th inning lead. Okay, the top of the 8th. They were ahead 5-4. Let me get the score right. I believe that's right.
Did you get a chance to make it, or you just watched it?
I watched it. I didn't. It was in Baton Rouge. Okay, so all right, but they took a 1-run lead to the 8th inning, and LSU, of course, scored 2 runs late in the bottom of the 8th and beat Kentucky by 1 run. It was either 6-5 or 7-6. Might have been 7-6. Anyways, that's how close Kentucky was to taking 2 out of 3 against the number 1 team in the country. They're going there again this weekend for the Super Regional. We'll see what happens.
Man,
if we could knock LSU out of the College World Series, I'm telling you, look here.
Got it on?
I'm telling you.
Got it on? I've been noticing you've been having your big blue on here lately. I've been noticing.
I have.
I've been
Yeah.
noticing. I've been
Yeah.
noticing.
Yeah.
No,
I
I
have.
wasn't. I guess I didn't mean. Did you go to that game? Did you go to any games that were in Lexington? Did you get a chance to go to any games that were in Lexington this past weekend?
No, I didn't get to Lexington. I probably should have. They've had a great season. I tell you what, watching it on TV, the regional round, since Kentucky was hosting,
Mm-hmm.
Big Blue Nation is just amazing. I mean, they had two records. They had Saturday and Monday. They set records for their brand new park, Kentucky Proud Park.
Mm-hmm.
They had almost 7,000 people there yesterday, 6,800, something like that. And it's set a record. And Big Blue Nation was there. I mean, like it really was impressive to watch the game and see the crowd and how much the crowd was into it. It was pretty impressive, actually. LSU is going to be the same because they're huge into their baseball down there. So, yeah, it's going to be a tough environment against a great, tough team. Paul Skeens on Saturday is going to be damn near impossible to beat. I mean, that's just the truth. They're probably going to have to beat them on Sunday and Monday if they beat them.
Anything's possible.
Which is
Anything's possible. Anything's possible now. Anything's possible now. Anything is possible. Good pitching, timely hitting.
Oh, Kentucky has the pitching. I'm definitely not worried about the pitching. Yeah. Now LSU's got some pretty damn good hitters as well, but I think Kentucky has the pitching to at least stay in the game.
Yeah.
Now the Paul Skeens start, I mean, he's just been almost unbeatable this year. So that one's going to be tough on Saturday, but we'll see.
I think that this is going to be a good one for your Cats because they have a couple. What you say? Top 5 picks on that team, and if I'm a pitcher, I want to see them. I want to show my stuff against somebody who's considered.
Hey, Zach Lee is right up there. I don't know what Mangione is going to do. I don't know if he's going to match up number one pitcher for number one with Skeens, or if he's going to put him as the second day starter, the Sunday starter, and try to beat LSU on Sunday without Skeens, their top pitcher. I'm not exactly sure what he's going to do yet. It's either that or he'll go head-to-head with Zach Lee against Skeens and see if we can't just beat him on Saturday.
Why not? Why not try to get the first one out of the gate? Because you get the first one, you put all the pressure.
You get the first one. If you can beat Skeens on Saturday,
all the pressure.
I'm telling you, man, you're in the driver's seat.
All the pressure. Exactly right.
You're in the driver's seat.
But that's why I'm right here talking to you, and they're doing what they're supposed to do up there. We don't know what they're going to do.
No, I don't know what he's going to do. Like I said, I don't know if he'll pitch. Zach Lee is a great pitcher. I watched him the other day. He's had a great season. He's been one of the top pitchers in all of the land all season long for Kentucky. And they've got more. They got Darren Williams and a Moore kid. I mean, Kentucky definitely has some pitching. So they I think they can stay with them as far as that. Now, the hitting, Kentucky has timely hitting and great base runners. That's what they have. So they manufacture runs. They scored 2 runs the other night to win a 4-2 game. Okay, yesterday they scored 2 runs off of 1 single and 2 walks, and scored 2 runs that inning because they stole bases and had sacrificed flies and scored 2 runs off of 1 hit and 2 walks. And
That's all you need. But that's all you need. That's all you need.
And they've done it well. And they've done that all season. That's what they do well. So, all right. So since me and you've been on, we'll get to some college sports news now. So since me and you've been on, the SEC announced their 2024 college football schedule is going to stay at 8 games. They are doing away with divisions, and I wanted your reaction to that.
I said that way back when. When I learned, when I seen it come across, I was like, I know that we're going to talk about that. I think to me, with the and if I'm not mistaken, they would be joining next year.
It's next year. It's 2024. Yeah.
So I think they had to kind of do that because, like we were saying, somebody was going to get left out doing something. And so if you do away with the division, now you just going by the top records. Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee.
So what they're doing is they're breaking them down over a 10-year span. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So they're putting them in categories like a top, a middle, and a bottom. So if your overall record is in the top, then you're going to be matched with mostly the top teams. Mm-hmm. If your overall record is in the middle over a 10-year span, you're going to be matched with mostly the middle teams. If your record is in the bottom, then you're going to be matched mostly with the bottom tier teams. And so, now I'm not saying all your games is coming from that. You definitely are going to have to play 1 or 2 out of each, out of each tier. Yeah. But your 8 games, you're probably going to get about 4 or 5 of them from your tier, whatever your tier is, whether it's, top, middle, or bottom. And then you'll get 1 or 2 games apiece out of the other 2 tiers that you are not part of to make up your schedule. That's what the SEC is planning on doing.
So once again, what do you think about that?
I mean, it makes sense. I do like the way that they are kind of breaking down a 10-year plan with a schedule like that and looking at your overall record, kind of putting you in tiers like that. And, you get, like I said, out of the 8 games, you'll get 4 or 5 a year. You get about 4 games out of your and 2 and 2, basically. That way there's balance in the schedule.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like I feel like that way you have more balance in the schedule. Now, if you're Alabama or Georgia and you're having to play 4 of the top teams and then 2 and 2 of the lower teams, then you probably don't feel like it's balanced. But so overall, it's a whole lot more balanced to be that way than it is to have Vanderbilt playing 6 of the top teams in the country.
Okay. Now,
if you get what I'm saying.
Now that the total number of SEC teams, I'm trying to break it.
It's going to be 16.
16. I'm not saying including with Texas and Oklahoma.
It's 14 now. So it'll be 16.
So does this year count as a 10-year?
Yeah, I think it'll count.
So Texas and Oklahoma will only be getting 9 years.
Well, so I think Texas and Oklahoma is actually they're looking at their schedule the way they have played the last 10 years, or they will in 2024. Gotcha. They're looking at their schedule the way they played the last 10 years in the Big 12.
So now I'm playing
their overall schedule.
Gotcha. So I'm playing devil's advocate now. What are the top tier teams? If it's 16 teams and we're breaking it down,
So I know Alabama and Georgia, and I think LSU and Oklahoma um,
Alabama, Georgia, LSU, Oklahoma.
are the top tier, I believe.
So that's a 4. That's a 4. That's what I'm saying. Going by the numbers, if it's 16 teams, it's going to be an
I think
uneven number.
it is. It
Uh,
definitely is because the bottom tier is
so
only
if,
like two or three
I
teams.
got you. I got you. Because I'm thinking 4, 4, 4, and 4. It's like that's going to be hard to do. Because I was like, who would be the top 4, and then who would be that middle 4, or that middle 8, or that last 4? It just depends. It's going to be very interesting how they do things.
You wouldn't believe it, but Tennessee's closer to the bottom than they are to the top in a 10
If
year.
you're speaking overall, because they just got started getting good. Yeah,
Seriously,
so
they are. They're
yeah.
like 41% win percentage over the last 10 years.
Yeah, so it's one of those things that it's crazy. It's crazy and where you can be in that if you're in that lower tier and just say you get hot and then I mean how do they decide? I guess it's a question for you as well. How would the top 2 teams go to the SEC tournament?
Yep. The top 2 overall teams go to the SEC tournament. Now,
And this,
my
this is
thing
just
is
for
this.
football.
I don't know how
Is it-
you do tiebreakers when it comes to that because you're not
Same record.
playing everybody.
So
You
I'm
don't
saying
play everybody.
you could have the same identical record as well. So are you
So
doing
if
this
you
just
got 3 teams that are tied at 6-2
mm,
and none of the 3 teams have played each other,
mm,
how the hell do you say, okay, we're picking this team to go play as the second? So you got a 7-1 team or an 8-0 team and 3 6-2 teams. Okay,
mhm,
and neither 3 of those teams have played each other.
mm.
How in the hell do you pick who is going to play in the SEC championship game? That's my biggest problem with all of it.
They're gonna go by point spread, or they're gonna go by head to head. Can't do head to head because
You
you just
can't
said
do head to head if they
head
hadn't
to head.
played.
You're gonna go by who did all of them equally play. Point spread, and the total number of points. It's gonna be crazy. And
I
this
don't
is just
like it. I don't like that.
change is always a difficult thing to do when you've had something that worked for so long. Uh, this is just a
That's
football thing, right? This is just a football thing because
yeah.
now
That's
this
just football.
is football because now, like I told you, playing devil advocate, when you align basketball, you're gonna have to align basketball. You're gonna keep East and West. I mean, yeah, you're gonna keep the East and West. Because in basketball right now they don't have it. They just go by.
Right.
Yeah, they don't have it. So
They took the East and West out of basketball. So I don't know. It's
very smart. That was very smart because
been a while now. I don't know,
yeah.
5, 6, 8 years. That's been a
Mm,
while.
that's what I said. They're gonna go
They
back to
they
the
had
old.
it. They had the East and West when you played. I think
No doubt. Yeah.
it was still East and West then, wasn't it?
It was. It was. It
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. But anyway, I wanted to talk about it. Me and you have kind of brought this up several times over the past year, talking about how the SEC schedule was going to work itself out, and it did kind of play out a little bit this week. And I knew that you were not crazy about losing the divisions, and I'm not either. Really, I'm not either.
But I said that was the only thing that they probably could do was do it with the divisions.
Yeah.
Because the way you were telling me at first, they were going to have certain rival games, taking certain people away. It's like that just takes away from the essence.
Yeah, see, I'm glad to do that 9-game schedule and stuff. So I'm kind of glad that they chose not to do that.
Gotcha.
The way they were talking, but I'm gonna be honest with you, Jason. I think it's coming. It's coming. They didn't do it for 2024, but it would not. This was just a temporary 1-year agreement for 2024. It would not surprise me if the 9-game schedule and those 3 rivalry games and picking who it is and all this other stuff is not coming in 2025. My biggest thing with that is Kentucky is getting screwed with their rivalry games. You got you got all these other teams that are getting, people think, well, Georgia and Auburn have to play, and LSU and Alabama have to play, and Tennessee and Alabama have to play, and Tennessee and Florida have to play, and
Has to play.
you know what I mean? So Kentucky gets left out because nobody gives a crap who the hell Kentucky plays, to be quite honest with you, except for Kentucky fans.
You know that.
And it actually pisses me off because our biggest rivals is Tennessee, Vandy. Those are our neighboring state, and it always has been. We play if we don't play Vandy in 2024, okay, it'll be the first time that we have not played Vandy since 1952.
All right, that game right there is tradition. You got to keep that game.
Do you hear what I just said? It'll be the first time that Kentucky and Vandy have not played since 1952.
52. That's a long time.
Okay? I mean, I'm just telling you, as a Kentucky fan, people are like, well, it doesn't matter. Kentucky can play South Carolina, or they can play Missouri, or they can play. No, we can't. That's not our damn rivals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it irks me. So that's what I don't like about it. I like what they agreed to way better than where they're probably going.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Kentucky's getting screwed out of it.
Kentucky probably won't be the only one getting screwed now. There's going to be a lot of other people that's going to be screwed now. If it's going the way you said it's going to be going. So, I can concur with what you're saying. But, man, I can't wait. I can't wait to see Texas and Oklahoma actually come over to the SEC and have things actually play out.
I'm so interested to see just exactly what Texas does in the SEC. Oklahoma, I feel like while they may slip just a little bit, I still feel like Oklahoma will probably be one of the top 3 or 4 teams year in and year out in the SEC.
I think Texas will.
I'm just not 100% sure.
I'm say this. He just got another commitment from another top quarterback, right? He just got another commitment. Watch this now.
I'm not sold on Sark as a coach. I'm sorry. I'm just not.
I can understand that, but you know that
he's a great recruiter. Great recruiter. He gets the dudes, man. He does.
That's all I'm saying. Texas would now keep even more players in the state of Texas because of them going to the SEC.
He will. And if Sark gets to stay and everything, if he's there, I mean, and I'm not saying, I'm just not sold on him as a coach. And I said the exact same thing when he was at USC. And guess what happened at USC?
He had the extra stage left.
I'm just saying.
Hey, the same can be said about Lane Kiffin as well. Now, the same can be said about Lane Kiffin.
Listen. There was several of those USC guys that was done the same way. And Kiffin and Sark, and there was a couple. There was a few of them.
Yeah, there was a few of them.
That was done the same way. I'm just not sold on Sark as a coach. I really.
I believe that Texas, and I could be wrong, but with such rich of a state that Texas is,
I think he's going to find it very difficult to go up against the Alabamas and the Georgias and the LSUs and the Texas A&Ms every year, year in, year out. I think you're going to see him lose more of those than he'll win. That's just my opinion.
They had Alabama beat this year.
And what happened?
A play here, a play there.
They had Alabama beat this year. I'm just saying. I think you will see you will see that they will lose more than they win when it
I
comes to
think
playing those top games.
I think, and this is me playing. You know me, I love playing devil. I think it would be a lot more
It's just
hiring.
listen. I'm trying to
Yeah,
have a
yeah.
strong
I
opinion
know,
here.
I
I'm
know, I
trying to have a
know.
strong opinion here.
I know you are, I believe, I believe the folks in Texas would throw around those dollars and hire away some of those coordinators from a Georgia, from a Alabama, you know, from a Tennessee, just to have ties to other states in recruiting. I think that's what because Texas for so long was just worried about the Big 12, trying to get to the
Yeah,
college. Now when
and
you're in SEC,
they mainly recruit Oklahoma and Texas, and that's probably about it. I mean, they used to.
and
They
so
used to.
being in the SEC, you know you have to have a long arm to be
Yeah.
able to reach out and go get the ones who are up north, who are in California. And you know, like I know, I don't know if you've been to Austin. Austin is a beautiful, beautiful city. And any young man who goes down there and sees Austin, it's like, you know what? I can do Austin. Because Austin is different. It's different than Dallas, different than Fort Worth. Austin, if you have not been to Austin, Brad,
I've not been to
when you get
Austin,
a chance,
Texas.
when you get a chance, go to Austin. You'll be like, okay, I see what Jason was saying. It is nice out here. It is nice. My
Okay.
18-year-old self would have been out here. And so that's what I'm saying. They have a city, not just, most people have college towns. They actually have a college city, not just town.
Lexington's pretty damn nice too, college town.
Well. Hey, I'm going to say you're a little bit biased. I'm going to say that.
I'm
I'm
just
going to say you're a little
saying,
bit biased.
I'm
I'm
probably a
going
whole lot.
we'll say you're a little bit biased, but like I said,
Probably a whole lot biased.
Austin is very, very nice. It's one of those up and coming cities that people don't know about. And like I said, hey, think about it. Think about this.
All right.
Kevin Durant went to Texas, and he was from the DMV.
He did.
He is from the DMV.
Didn't win, but he went to Texas.
Hey, listen. He's one of those benefactors that's in the state of Texas.
I'm sorry. Did that come out? I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, you just told the truth. You didn't say a lie.
Okay. All right. So I will talk about our Linktree page. I got it up. You can scan that code there to the right of the screen. This is where you can go and find all of our platforms that we're on. We're on Facebook, and we're on YouTube, and we're on Apple and Spotify and iHeartRadio, and I have a TikTok and an Instagram and a Tumblr, and you can also find our True. I'll get to that in a little bit. You can also find our official College SportsCast merchandise page on there. So there's all kinds of stuff. Just scan the QR code there to the right of the screen, and that is our College SportsCast Linktree page, or you can just log on to Linktree/College SportsCast. Either one, but I just wanted to get to that while we are still on the air here. I want to get to the end. I'm also going to put up this one's it. Yeah. Put up the Real Fresh channel. This is Howie Fresh, a friend of ours, defenders. And he is also part of the Let's Talk Sports and Sideline Sports, which is rolling on the bottom of the screen. We're now part of that. And Howie is a part of that as well. So I'm going to let him talk here about his channel, the Real Fresh channel.
Hey, I am Hal Fresh here to tell you about the Real Fresh channel. That's right, youtube.com/the Real Fresh channel. We are a network aiming to bringing you various content each and every day, different types of podcasts, different type of content. Anything from college sportcast and fresh takes for some sports. We also got You Want to Do What? We got the Wrestling Corner. We got live stream. Just go over to youtube.com/The Real Fresh Channel and hit us up today. Thank you for checking it out. Appreciate your time.
The Real Fresh.
All right, guys, that was Howie Fresh at the Real Fresh channel. We are featured on there on Sundays when we are having our Sunday shows. We are not currently having our Sunday shows. We are kind of winding down our very first season, quite a long season, if you want to know the truth. We have covered football, basketball, and baseball season for college sports. We started doing this actually in August. We actually started the college SportsCast around the 1st of September when the season started. But we done a few things before that was called something else. And then we settled on this and started doing the college sportscast around the 1st of September when the season started. But so we've done pretty soon, we will do our last show. I think it's set for June 27th. Will be the final show of season 1. And if I'm not mistaken, it'll be episode 124.
That's something right there. That's something. Ooh,
Right,
a lot
Jason?
of content.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it'll be episode 124. All right, so I'm going to get our True Victory up on the screen. True Victory is our veteran-owned sportswear company that we are proud to be a brand ambassador for. Actually, Paul Skeens from LSU is a brand ambassador for True Victory, and he supports them as well. You can actually check out some of his own gear through them. So if you're an LSU fan, go there and check out the Paul Skeens collection. And you can scan our code there to the QR code to the right of the screen, and it'll take you right to the online shop. They have men's, women's, and accessories. And there's lots of different stuff to pick from. They have different collections. They have one called Stars and Stripes. They have one called Are You True? They have the Victorious Tea collection. There is several really, really great things there to check out. Use our code to Fanboys for a 15% discount code at checkout. It'll help us out, help you out for 15% off, and we would appreciate that. So you can scan the code. I will keep that up for just a few minutes. And we'll kind of go on with the show, but I'll keep that up on the screen here for a little bit. All right. So I want to get to something else that I heard about today. So I want to get your opinion on this. And I'm all for it. I know it is going to be a hot topic, and I know it's a debate, and I know a lot of people are probably not going to like it. Tomorrow, Nick Saban, a group of SEC coaches and administrators are going to Washington, D.C. They're going to Congress. They are meeting with Congress tomorrow to talk about NIL regulation policies. I am 100% for it. I know that there is a lot of people, maybe even including Jason, that is not. Jason is a former player, and I totally get the player's perspective. I am not against the players making money. I'm just against the wild, wild west, anything goes, playing dirty crap that's going on, and the NCAA is basically useless and can do nothing. And the reason why is, and I'll get to some of this, but so each state has its own power to make their own rules.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay. So the reason why, and a lot of people don't like this, but the reason why federal laws need to be in place is so that there's one universal law across the country that everyone has to go by. California can't be different than Florida. Texas can't be different than Michigan. You can't get away with doing this in Texas and or California and you can't do that over here in Kentucky. You can't do that. I mean, it's just not equal. It's not fair. I hate what's going on. And just to throw a name out, Saban is one of the names that's leading this group going to Washington, D.C. tomorrow. So, Jason, I'm opening it up to you. I know it's controversial, but that's what we cover here at College SportsCast. We do some.
What we cover.
That's what
That's
we do.
what we cover. That's what we do.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say this. Let me give myself adjustment, right? I'm going to say this. I understand the need to get a grasp on these deals, because the money that is being thrown around is whew. Some of the conversations I've had and some of the people who I talk to, like some of these guys are making more than assistant coaches.
By the way, Jason is coaching AAU basketball as well, so he's in the middle of all of this.
Yeah, so some of the numbers that I'm hearing, I'm happy. I'm just, man, I was born too early, because hey, had I been born, I could have been in some of this. But at the same time, it's kind of hard to, and I think the NCAA dropped the ball on this when they threw it out and didn't have a cap. It really was thrown out and said, hey, figure it out. So people say, well, the government shouldn't be involved. Well, I hate to tell people this, but the government's the one that opened the door. It wasn't the NCAA. It was states that opened the door and said, we're going to open the door to NIL. Well, here's the thing too. Now, it can't be an even playing field when you have money that is allocated towards athletes in different states. You can't control that. You can't control how Brad might donate his money to Kentucky. You can't control the way Jason would donate his money to Ole Miss. If I said, hey, Ole Miss coaches, I have $2 million and I give you $2 million, right? Put together the best team you can, right? That $2 million might not even be enough.
It's probably not going to be, not in today's world.
But if I'm a competitive guy and I love my university, I'm going to be willing. And if I have deep enough pockets that I know, hey, they're going to tax this money anyway, I might as well donate it and get a taxable or a tax deductible from this money anyway. I might as well get that. I'm going to throw it, but it's kind of hard to me. It's kind of hard to put a cap on it, and I think that's what should have been done, or where you can't exceed $5 million.
So I just want to throw this out there. There are so many people that say that the government shouldn't be involved. Okay, but I hate to break this to you guys that say that. This was all brought forth by states, rulings by individual states that government that opened the door to the NIL.
I mean,
that's what all this was brought by, and can set their own laws and everything, and it makes no sense. It makes no sense. It's not equal. There's no guidelines that are set that can match, that will be the same for TCU as it is for USC. There's no guidelines that'll be the same for Indiana as it will be for Michigan. There's no guidelines that are set that's going to be the same for Charlotte compared to Western Kentucky. You know what I mean?
But Brad. Once again, I'm gonna play devil's advocate. This has been going on for years anyway. Now it's just out in the open, and now kids are choosing to do something else. As before, and I'm not saying this happened. Alabama was getting all the top recruits for a reason, right? Kentucky was getting all the top recruits for a reason. Now, I'm not going to say I'm
now.
You see what I'm saying? See how I did that? Alabama. Now, Georgia is getting all the top recruits for a reason. Now, hold on. Somebody left Georgia. I forget the kid's name. He left Georgia and went to USC and has a luxury apartment, something he didn't have. And so now the problem is that the kids are making the choices based solely on money now, which to me is a ball game changer, because now what they're not talking about.
Yeah, but Jason, if the federal government puts in federal laws across the board that everybody has to go by, then you've actually got something that could be the same for USC as it is for Georgia.
Well, if that's the case, then they're going to say this. I'm telling you why they're not going to do this. Well, okay, college coaches, we need to put a cap on what you can make. Because at the end of the day, you guys are not putting your bodies on the line.
It's not about what you can make. It's about that's what. So one of the acts that is in place that they are going to talk about is called the Fair College Sports Act. Okay, that's the name of. It's about fairness, accountability, and integrity in representation of college sports. Well, that's one of the acts that's being introduced.
Okay. Now watch this. A coach can get fired, right? Then he can get rehired and make the same. There's not until they put a cap on college basketball, college football salaries. They're not going to put a cap on this. They're not, even though they have a cap in which they can pay the assistants this, that, and third. At the end of the day, the coaches are making way more money than the kids. So they're going to get sued. You can't put a limit on what I can make. You can't say, hey, you can pay. You can
Jason,
pay
I'm gonna run through. There's 5 acts they're trying to pass. Okay, one of them's the Fair College Sports Act, the one I just mentioned. Okay, one of them is called the College Sports NIL Clearinghouse Act, and that is the one that can enforce penalties. Okay,
when everything.
I'm just throwing it out.
I'm giving rebuttals every time.
All right. Another one is called the Student Athlete Level Playing Field Act.
Never been a level playing field.
Okay. I'm just saying these are what these are called. And then there's one of them that's actually untitled, but is being pushed by Tommy Tuberville and Manchin, who are ex-college coaches and players. Okay. Manchin's from West Virginia. And they're putting together a legislation for it to be passed. And then the College Athletes Bill of Rights is another one. There's actually 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5. There's 5 different bills that are trying to be put in place to control and to monitor the NIL. And I'm all for it. I'll be honest with you. I'm all for it. I know you are against some of it. I know you are.
I'm against all of it.
But
I'm against all of it.
But I'm all for it.
Well,
I mean, none of this would even be in place, period, if the government didn't get involved to start with and open the door
well,
per state.
well, if
Because the NCAA sure as shit wasn't doing it,
Well,
and you know they wasn't.
well, they wouldn't, and
The NCAA was not going to open that door.
and they were getting billions and billions of dollars off college athletes.
You know, and I know that this would not be in place if it wasn't for the government. The NCAA was not going to open that door.
Well, that I believe, and I believe all players would have walked out and not played anymore.
They may have, but I'm telling you, the NCAA was not going to open that door.
Why? Tell me this. And I know, since we're talking about it, why did the NCAA stop fighting?
Because they're powerless. Because
Okay.
the federal government, I mean, not the federal government, the state governments took control and they don't have any power left. That's the reason why there's no regulation. They can't do anything about it.
But okay, now that you can't regulate it, okay, this is, to me, this is how you solve it. I'm gonna tell you, this is how you solve it. This is how you solve it. You put that money in a trust, right, and make them earn it. Well, hey, you got this, but you got to set parameters on what they can do. Don't put the money in a trust. The problem is they didn't have an idea. That's the idea. Put the money in a trust. Hey, you gotta get your college degree, or you have to complete such and such in order to get this money. Now that you
I have no problem with paying a player for for play. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest problem right now is that it is being used for recruiting and it is being used. Listen, and that's wrong. It's always been wrong. Jason, you can have your opinion if you want, but it's always been wrong and against the law to recruit that way. Okay. It's wrong. It's wrong to lead players to certain universities because of money. And I'm talking about like, so, in North Carolina passed that they're going to go down to high school kids. You're talking about now kids that coaches can say, hey, we want this 14-year-old. And they're going to go down to these 14, 15-year-old kids. And for 3 or 4 years, they're going to give them some handouts along the way for 3, 4, 5 years and give them some handouts and do everything that they can do to lure them to their program and to their university. And I'm sorry, but that's bullshit. I hate it. It's bullshit. I hate it. Absolutely.
I mean, you're coming from an era in which everything was earned and not given, right? I came right behind you.
Yeah.
I came right behind you in that same era. Okay. But when you look at certain things, before you say anything, let me finish. When I was at Ole Miss, I was just happy to be at Ole Miss. I didn't have the mindset of a Fab Five. I didn't understand the way they were thinking. Okay, now Brad, and tell me this. If there's a Brad jersey being sold in the arena, right, and you look up and it's at least, you signed at least 500 jerseys, right? And the university is benefiting from that, from your name, image, and likeness for many years. But Brad has to wait on his per diem or his parents to send him some money to eat.
And all of that was wrong. For years, that was wrong.
And that's
You're
what I was
talking
saying.
about somebody that's actually playing in the gymnasium, looking up, and the university's making money off of their name, image, and likeness. All of that, I am 100% for, and these players should be making money for that. I'm talking about universities that's going to high schools or going to AAU tournaments, just like what you're doing, and paying these kids bukus of freaking money and luring them and crap. And that shit is wrong. I hate to tell everybody, but it's wrong. It's wrong in college sports. It's wrong in amateur athletics. I don't give a crap who you are. If you think it's right, you're wrong.
But you got to understand, Brad, that's your opinion.
It's wrong, Jason.
That's your opinion. I sit there and watch the Shooting Stars. You know the movie The Shooting Stars, LeBron James movie. Have you seen it on?
I haven't seen it.
Okay,
no.
When you get a chance to watch, when you get a chance,
got Chris Livingston in it, I believe.
When you get a chance to watch it, LeBron James was victim of a fan giving him a jersey that was worth money. Who just give a kid, right? And he was ruled ineligible because
he was in high school.
Someone gave him a jersey. And he was in high school.
Yeah.
But his mother can go to the bank and get a loan for a Hummer.
Because LeBron James.
Because he was LeBron James.
Because he's LeBron James.
Because he was LeBron James. So how is it that the bank's federal money can be given to his mother based on who her son was, but he couldn't take a jersey that was worth so much money? So now let me catapult over to this. Now, you're absolutely right, Brad. It is wrong to lure kids in with money. But tell me this, Brad, how would you tell a kid, how can you convince a kid whose mother is working 3 jobs? And
man, that shit's been going on for 100 years, Jason.
But that's what I'm saying. All they did was say, "Hey," and this was this is the.
You're supposed to work for what you get.
Okay, but this is what you're missing. The incoming kids are not getting that much money.
That's what's wrong with our society now. Is half of them don't have to work for what they get.
No, did you hear what I said? The incoming freshmen are not getting the bulk of the money. They're not.
The players themselves are not getting the bulk of the money.
The players are.
It's the recruits.
Let's
get the bulk of the money.
No, it's not the high school recruits.
It's the transfers. That's the reason why. That's the reason why everybody's in the damn transfer portal. Oh, I know, Jason. I know what's going on. That's the reason why there's 3,000 damn kids in the damn transfer portal, because guess what? I seen NIL numbers. They had a conference yesterday. Actually, it's going on this week as well. They had a conference yesterday. So the average player, this is collectives. I'm going to get this out and then we'll close the show, okay? This is just NIL collectives. This is not everything, okay? Mm-hmm. This is collectives. I want to put that out there. Mm-hmm. But the average football player that's playing in season on a collective, the top tier players, not the bottom tier, the top, only average $45,000 in an amount of money, $45,000. The top tier in season, top players in football was $45,000. Basketball was $75,000. Okay. These transfers are over $500,000. The ad for football and basketball in the transfer portal to lure them to the new school are averaging over $500,000. And the player in season themselves are averaging $45,000 and $75,000. Now tell me that there are not some damn regulations that need to be going on.
But Brad, you gotta understand too.
I mean, that's
There,
ridiculous.
it's things that you're not seeing that you do know that certain kids are not getting all that. If it was 100 kids in the portal, which is more than 100 kids, only about 30 to 40 of them are getting those big numbers. You see what I'm saying? It's not
Yes,
everybody.
those
Yeah, yeah,
big numbers
yeah,
are the
yeah,
top.
yeah. They're
Those are
top.
the top kids.
Yeah,
That's not the
yeah.
bottom kids.
That's on the
Those
top.
big numbers that I
So
just are
everybody,
the
yeah, yeah.
top
So yeah,
kids.
yeah. So everybody's not getting that. Depending, because some people are getting 5, some people are getting 4, some people are getting 3. You're exactly right. See, I have no problem with that. The only problem I have with it sometimes is you're giving these kids and their parents as well. Sometimes these kids are getting 70, 80,000 a month. But if you broke it down and only gave them 10% of that a month and made them put the rest up in a trust, they could regulate it a lot better. You see what I'm saying? Because coming
Maybe.
in, you see what I'm saying?
I'm
Coming
not
in,
saying I'm not
yeah,
saying that there are not some ways that you can regulate it. There is, and
yeah, that's all right.
that's not a terrible idea.
But it's hard to put a cap on it. It's hard to ask the federal government to come in and put a cap on it because they don't want to run the risk of getting sued. So now you're putting the and I'm saying and you're right on some aspects of it. It's crazy, but what are the college coaches making this crazy?
I mean, Jason, that's why there's so many kids in the damn transfer portal.
But everybody doesn't get anything in the transfer portal. We're only talking about the few. Remember this. We're talking about in the transfer portal. We're talking about the 1, 2, and 3% of the transfer portal. That's it. That's it.
We're talking about the very top. That the numbers that I just spit out. Yes,
Some of the 1%, 2%, and the 3%,
yeah,
because they go down as far as tier. Everybody's not getting a bunch of money. Only a few of them are getting a lot of money.
But so a kid. I mean, I'll throw out a name. Hunter Dickinson, been playing at Michigan. Okay,
Yeah.
Hunter Dickinson from his collectives. Okay, at Michigan, probably made $40,000, $50,000, $60,000.
Okay.
From his collective playing at Michigan. He puts his name in the portal, and Kansas offers him $2 million.
So
I mean,
Brad.
So as a player,
Okay.
he's worth $50,000 or $60,000 in season
as
a player
to your university, exactly. And so now, what your university has the opportunity to do, they have the opportunity to match that. If they want
So
to match
then we allow him to just say, "Oh, you know what? I'm gonna put my name in the portal and just take the highest damn bidder."
You tell me.
Name, image, and likeness was not invented and talked about for that reason, Jason. It just wasn't, and know I'm right.
Okay, Brad.
Name, image, and likeness was exactly what you just talked about being in the stands and them profiting off of your jersey name, the name, your likeness, your signatures, doing all these signings and stuff and everything. That's what name, image, and likeness was really about.
Well, with you saying that, Brad, that's not a that look like I'm a product. I'm a brand. If I'm able to go from 45,000 to $1 million,
$500,000, to $1 million. I know, but that's what I'm saying. That's what we are allowing, Jason. Well, that's why regulation and stuff
Brad,
is needed.
Brad, we're not regulating these college coaches' contracts. We're not regulating. It's the same as universities. It's the same.
I want to keep college athletics. I love the players. I love college athletics. I don't want to see it go by the wayside because we aren't strong enough to have some regulations for all this and to see it destroyed, because that's where we're headed.
You got to regulate the coaches' salary. When you keep saying TV, think about what the revenue sharing was in the SEC. You're talking about billions of dollars they're regulating, that they're sharing. Schools are bringing in $300 to $400 million a piece, and you telling me that we can't see 10% of that, 0.5% of that?
I know.
Because
We
without
were
the
gonna
app,
we're gonna have to we're gonna have to pick this up another one, Jason.
Gotcha.
I mean, we're close on time here. We'll have to pick this up another time. And I knew this was going to be a very highly debatable topic. Okay, like
Yeah.
I kind of, me and Jason, we kind of have some fun over the NIL stuff with all this. So, you know,
No,
so we've had a little fun with this. I hope you guys have enjoyed our show today. Like I said, it's College SportsCast. This has been with Jason Harrison tonight, and we've talked about a lot of different stuff with baseball. We've kind of ended our show on a big, huge debate about regulations for NIL. So I appreciate Jason being on. I appreciate you guys being on with us. We are part of WSBN TV Channel 30. Let's Talk Sports, Sideline Sports, The Fanboys, Greenville Sports Media, and I am actually a writer for Stadium Rant, sports writer as well now. So catch us on Thursday. It'll be our next show at 8 o'clock, and we will preview the upcoming Super Regionals with baseball and maybe touch on a hot topic or two. All right. Y'all have